If you're a Potterhead, you have probably read the Harry Potter books several times and realized that the characters in the books don't really look like those we saw in the movies. But we are happy to see that some artists recreated our favorite characters so they could look just like J.K. Rowling imagined them. Make sure you watch this video until the end to see why the Harry Potter fandom thinks that book Ginny is much better than movie Ginny. If you love Harry Potter as much as we do, don't forget to subscribe and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are showing you how the cast of Harry Potter should have really looked. Harry Potter. In the book, the boy who lived is described as small and skinny for his age. He had a thin face, knobbly knee, black hair, and bright green eyes. He also wore round glasses together with a lot of Scotch tape, and we can't forget the scar on his forehead that was shaped like a bolt of lightning. We were really happy to see Daniel Radcliffe play Harry Potter in the movie, but he was not perfect. He could have been skinnier and his hair could have been darker, but the most important thing that was missing was probably his bright green eyes. Hermione Granger. The only thing we know about her in the books is that she had a bossy sort of voice, lots of bushy hair, and rather large front teeth. It was very important because in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, she became more beautiful than she ever was before. Her hair was no longer bushy, but sleek and shiny. The reduction in the size of her front teeth after a spell that went wrong was also more noticeable than ever. However, Emma Watson was really beautiful in all the Harry Potter movies without the large front teeth, so we didn't really notice the difference in the fourth movie. Ronald Weasley. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Ron is described as tall, thin, and gangly with freckles, big hands and feet, and a long nose. This is part of the reason why some people thought that Dumbledore was actually a time-traveling Dumbledore, as they had a similar physical description, but we know that it doesn't make sense. Anyway, in the movies, Ron is memorable for his bright red hair. He is also tall, but not exactly gangly. He is also missing the freckles and the long nose, but we don't really care about this as long as he is played by Rupert Grint. Rubeus Hagrid. And here is our favorite giant who will always be remembered for telling Harry that he is a wizard. In Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, he was described as a giant who was almost twice as tall as a normal man and at least 5 times as wide. Long tangles of bushy black hair and a beard hid most of his face. He had hands the size of trash can lids and his feet in the leather boots were like baby dolphins. Even though Robbie Coltrane could never be as big as this, we think that he was realistically the best Hagrid we could ever find. Fred and George Weasley. The twins have always been part of the funniest duo in the movie. J.K. Rowling wanted us to remember them as the two pranksters because she thought that their personality was more important than their looks. That's why the only thing we know about them in the books is that they didn't only have freckles and red hair, they were also shorter and stockier than Percy and Ron, who were both long and lanky. Even though the twins are taller than what the writer imagined, we think that it's better this way. And it's also really weird to see James and Oliver Phelps with a different hair color in other movies. Lily Evans. If there is one thing that we remember about Lily Evans, it is that Harry had his mother's eyes. As she passed away before the beginning of the movie, she is nothing but a memory. And that doesn't keep many people from remembering her as a woman that they will always love. She didn't only have dark red hair. Lily was mostly known for her brilliant green and almond-shaped eyes, just like Harry was supposed to be. However, just like Daniel Radcliffe, the actress who played the young Lily, doesn't have green eyes. It even inspired many memes on the internet, and we think that it's really funny. Dudley Dursley. We don't care about how he looks. His personality is always going to make him ugly. According to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, he had a large pink face, not much neck, small watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick fat head. Aunt Petunia said that he looked like a baby angel, but Harry thought that he looked like a pig in a wig. In the movie, Dudley has brown hair instead of blonde hair, and while he doesn't totally look like a pig, it is really his personality that lets us know that he is the best Dudley. Voldemort. Fear of a name increases fear of the thing itself. This is why we aren't shy to call him Voldemort. However, we are still not really comfortable with his looks. In the book, the Dark Lord was tall and skeletally thin, with a face wider than a skull, with wide, livid scarlet eyes and a nose that was as flat as a snake's, with slits for for nostrils. He also had hands large like pale spiders. We think that they nailed the snake look in the movie, but it would have been interesting to see him with red eyes rather than blue eyes. It's also fun to see the actor with a nose before the special effects. Draco Malfoy. And here comes our favorite bad boy. If you read the books, you know that Draco actually first met Harry in Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions on Diagon Alley. He made a rather intolerant speech about Muggle-borns, even though he was friendly towards Harry. He was also described as a boy with white, blonde hair and a pale, pointed face. We all have to agree that no actor would have been better than Tom Felton in the role of Draco Malfoy, mostly when it comes to his personality. And it's still surprising to see how nice the young actor is in real life. Fleur Delacour. We don't know a lot about Fleur Delacour, except the fact that the young witch who studied at Beauxbatons was extremely beautiful. But Ginny also thought that she turned out to be really annoying when she was dating her brother, even though the family finally accepted her. In the book, we knew that Fleur had wavy silver blonde hair that seemed to float behind her. The actress who plays Fleur is blonde, but her hair is tied in a bun under her hat. No matter what, we wish that we had a chance to get to know her more in the movies, because this young woman totally deserves our attention. Severus Snape. We thought that the worst teacher in school would have gotten less attention until we found out about all the things he did for Harry. In the books, he was described as having greasy black hair, a hooked nose, and shallow skin. It's not a surprise that so many people thought that he was a vampire. And Alan Rickman did have greasy black hair, a nose that could have been more hooked, and looked pretty shallow. However, he was supposed to be 31 years old at the beginning of the movie, but the beloved actor was actually in his mid-50s at the time, making him much older than Lily. Dolores Umbridge. Actually, she is the worst thing that ever happened to Hogwarts. There was no doubt that Dolores Umbridge was going to be an evil being as soon as we took a look at her. In the books, Harry thought that she looked like a large, pale toad. She was rather squat, with a broad, flabby face, as little neck as Uncle Vernon, and a very wide, slack mouth. Even the little black velvet bow perched on top of her short, curly hair put Harry in mind of a large fly she was about to catch with a sticky tongue. Even though we hated this character, we have to admit that the actress in the movie looks much better than that. Sirius Black. Here's a man that we hated, that we loved, and that we cried for. After 12 years in Azkaban, it's not a surprise that he looked terrible. As we can read in the books, a mass of filthy, matted hair hung to his elbows. If eyes hadn't been shining out of the deep, dark sockets, he might have been a corpse. He also had waxy skin stretched over the bones of his face that made him look like a skull, and yellow teeth. Gary Oldman was too handsome to portray a man that was so disgusting, and one little problem was that the actor was in his mid-40s, even though Sirius was supposed to be in his early 30s. Remus Lupin. And here comes his friend Moony. Unfortunately, with his condition, it was a little hard to have a normal life and be accepted in society. This is probably why Remus was wearing an extremely shabby set of wizard robes that he had darned in several places. He looked ill and exhausted. Though quite young, his light brown hair was flecked with gray. Once again, the actor looked much better than the character in the book. We wouldn't imagine anyone else playing this role, but we have to admit that it would have been interesting to see him with shabby wizard's robes. Albus Dumbledore. Everyone loves Dumbledore. This is probably why he is J.K. Rowling's favorite character. In the books, he wore half-moon glasses, had a long crooked nose, and flowing silver hair, beard, and mustache. It was enough for us to imagine the best school principal in the world. If you are wondering what he would have looked like when he was young, you'll have to watch the second Fantastic Beasts movie. In the Harry Potter movie series, Albus Dumbledore was portrayed by two actors, but many people will agree that Richard Harris was the best Dumbledore because he literally looked like the popular character. Minerva McGonagall. Even though many students don't like how strict she was, we have to admit that she was one of the best teachers now that we are grown-ups, and we think that her looks reflected her personality. Minerva had hair that was black, pulled back into a bun, square glasses, and beady eyes. In the movies, she looked a little bit older than what we thought she was, but the actress was so good that we quickly forgot the description in the book and fell in love with her. If you want to know more about her past, you'll have to read Short Stories from Hogwarts. Luna Lovegood. If you were sorted in Ravenclaw, Luna is probably one of your favorite characters. She was also very pretty. According to the books, she had straggly, waist-length, dirty blonde hair, very pale eyebrows, and protuberant eyes that gave her a permanently surprised look. Evanna Lynch is pretty close to the description in the movie, even though her hair is paler and not quite as straggly. She is pretty much perfect. People even say that Evanna is not playing Luna. She is Luna. She even said that she was her favorite character when she was reading the books, and getting the role was a dream come true. Neville Longbottom. We don't know why, but many people ended up with Neville, even though they both married different people. Anyway, Neville was so clumsy that he thought that he didn't even belong in Ravenclaw. That is until he turned out to be the other chosen one and destroyed the last Horcrux. In the books, Neville was a round-faced boy, and Rowling also stated that she imagined him as a short, plump, and blonde boy. At the beginning of the movies, Neville was not blonde, but he did have a round face. However, he grew up to be quite tall and not very plump. We also have to admit that the actor looks more handsome than ever. Lavender Brown. In the movies, we don't know a lot about Lavender Brown because, once again, Rowling thought the personality of the character was more important, and she certainly caught our attention when she was dating Ron. But one thing is sure, the characters didn't change drastically in the books compared to what we saw in the movies. In Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, she was played by Jennifer Smith before she was replaced by Jessica Cave in the last movies. We understand that the first actress was maybe not ready for a big role, but why do they replace her with a white girl instead of a black girl that could have looked like her? Ginny Weasley. Most Potterheads agree that book Ginny was much better than movie Ginny. In the books, she had a long mane of red hair, and Bonnie Wright fits the description. However, many fans were disappointed by her personality. In the books, she was much more confident and did many more things than just waiting around for Harry to come back. This is why we fell in love with her. And you should read the books if you want her to be your favorite character too. So which of these characters was your favorite? Don't be shy in the comment section down below. We'd love to hear what you think. And that's it for how the cast of Harry Potter should have really looked. For more stories like this, make sure you watch 10 Harry Potter characters that could be back in Fantastic Beasts. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.